Hey guys, this is Mr. Grice for Algebra Unit 9.6 Review Video Number 2. I'm on the back side of the note, so go ahead and flip it over and let's get started. So, what we have to do for this is we have to graph the piecewise functions, identify the domain and range, as well as the value of the function for the given domain value. Let's get this on. First one. That's what I'm going to graph in blue. It's an absolute value graph, and it's being reflected because of the negative symbols. So I know that my graph is going to go down. Okay, my vertex is at the point -2, +7, so -2, 7. And then I really need to pay attention to our limit right there, and our limit's at 0. So I'm going to draw that in first so I pay attention to it. Okay, let's go ahead and start graphing. At -2, 7 is where we begin. And I go down 1, right 1, down 1. Whoa, I'm at my limit. Okay, is this going to be open or closed point? Okay, that's a closed point. And now I'm going to continue my graph in the opposite direction like I normally would. And draw. Okay, my next graph's going to be in red. That's a square root graph and it's being reflected. Okay, so I know that it's going to go down and to the right. Okay. My vertex is at, or my initial point for this would be at 0, -3. So, and my limit's the same, it's at 0, so I get to keep that line. Now my initial point is at 0, -3, and it's going to be open because of my symbol. Okay? So now I'm going to follow the pattern to the right, down 1, right 1, down 1, right 3. And there we go. That's our graph. Now, let's look at the domain. Are there any limits going horizontally, left to right? No, there's nothing. So x is all real numbers. What about the range? Well, if we look at both of our arrows, that's telling me to go down and this is telling me to go down. So my graph keeps going down, but how high can it go? Well, the highest it can go is right there, and that's at 7. Everything is below that. So y is less than or equal to 7. All right, and f of -4, when we get to -4, what's it equal? Good, 5. All right, let's go on to D. You're going to go straight across. We'll set it up together, and then you guys are going to graph it on your own. So our first equation, that is an absolute value, and it's being reflected, and it's going down. Our vertex is the point 1, -6. Okay, our next one is a square root, and that's also being reflected, so it's going down. And our initial point is 0, 2. Okay, so I want you guys to pay attention right there to your limit and draw the graph and see if you can get the domain and range correct. Okay, pause the video and good luck. Okay, there we go. So in the blue is our absolute value. It's open at 0 because of our limit that x is less than 0. I wanted everything to the left for that graph. Okay, in our square root in red, it's reflected, so that's why it's going down. And then since it's greater than or equal to 0, that's why it's a closed point. Okay, our domain is all real numbers, and our range is everything less than or equal to 2. And at f of -2, it equals -7. Okay, let's move on to B. Our first equation, the 3x plus 2, that's a linear equation. So we need our slope, which is 3 over 1, and our y-intercept is 0, 2. I need to pay attention to that because I want everything to the left, okay? So as I graph this, at 0, 2, oh, that's one of my limits right there, and I need that to be open, okay? Because it's less than 2, or 0, not less than or equal. But if I'm following my slope, I go up 3 into the right one. I don't want that point. I want everything to the left. Remember, left means less. Okay, so I have to do the opposite of what my slope says. Negative 3, left 1. Negative 3, left 1. Negative 3, left 1. And then draw your line. Okay? Let's do the same thing with our next graph. This is an absolute value. There's no reflection, so that means it's going up. And our vertex is the point 3, negative 6. All right, this time we have to pay attention to 2. So I'm going to draw my line at 2. And let's graph this. So at 3, negative 6 is my first point. And then I go up 1, left 1, and that's going to be closed, but it's greater. I want everything to the right, so I don't need any more points than that. Okay? Or at least going to the left. But to the right, I continue that pattern. There we go. So let's look at the domain. Is there a break in the domain? Well, I see 2 whole blocks right here where we don't have a graph. So yeah, there's a huge break. So when that happens, we steal our limits right here. X is less than 0, and x is greater than or equal to 2. Okay, what about our range? Well, our blue graph is going down, and our red graph is going up. So what that tells me is that there's no limits for the range. It's all real numbers. Okay? And then when f is 4, when we're plugging in 4, what's our answer? Good, negative 5. Okay, E, you guys are on your own. All right, it's going to be very similar to B. Okay? Do you think you can do this all on your own, or would you like me to kind of set it up? How about we just set it up? It's linear. Your slope is 3 over 1, and your y-intercept is 0, 1. Our next one, it's absolute, and there's no reflection, so that means it's going up. And our vertex is 3, 5. Okay? Just remember to pay attention to your limits right there. That's going to change your domain. Okay? So pause the video, and good luck. Okay, and there we go. So there is a break in the domain right here. We got a whole block right here that's no numbers or no lines are there because of our limits. Okay, so, and we got that from right there. The range was all real numbers because the blue graph's pointing down, the red graph is pointing up. How'd you guys do? Okay, Hopefully you're doing good. Let's look at C. All right, so, hey, we've got a quadratic here. I know that because of the 2 right there. So it's not being reflected, so it's going up. And then our vertex is 4, but what's the number outside? Oh, there's nothing there, which means it's plus 0, okay? And that's not a positive 4, that's a negative 4. I forgot to take the opposite. Okay, let's go ahead and graph that. And we have to pay attention to my limit of negative 2. For this one, I want everything to the left. Okay, so at negative 4, 0 is where I start. I go up 1, right 1, up 1, right 3, and it's going to be closed. Okay? And then I just complete the pattern on the other side. Everything to the left, so my arrow is only going up and to the left. Okay? All right, let's do the bottom one. We also have a parabola, and this time it's being reflected, so this one's going to be going down. Now, there's no parentheses, which means my vertex is going to be 0, and then the number outside, which is negative 1. Okay? So our limit right here is also at 2, or at negative 2, but this time I want numbers that are greater, so that's going to be going to the right. So 0, negative 1 is where I start. Down 1, left 1, down 1, left 3, okay? And that's going to be open because it's greater. It's not greater than or equal to, okay? And then I'm going to continue the pattern in the other direction. And there we go. So, our domain. Is there a break in the graph? No, because it's at negative 2 for both of them, and one's open and one's closed, so no break, which is good. So x is all real numbers. What about the range? Well, the blue graph is going up, red graph's going down. No limit, so that means that y is all real numbers. And then when you plug in negative 4, what do you get? 0. All right, F. F, you're all on your own. I'm not going to do anything. You guys are going to do all the work. Okay? Go ahead and pause the video, and good luck. Okay, and there you go. We get all real numbers for the domain and the range. And at f of negative 4, we get 0. Now, if you have questions on this or anything else from Unit 9, make sure to come in, not just 9.6, because this is the last section that we're going over, and then it's your test, okay? Well, this is Mr. Grice signing off for Algebra Unit 9.6 review. As always, you know where to find us. This is Mr. Grice signing off. Thanks for watching.